Hello, my dear friends. The sun is just setting outside. It's cloudy, so I don't see the sun. But yeah, it's already getting gray. And tomorrow is the winter solstice, and the day will start growing. So I thought we could talk about goddess of dawn for a couple of reasons. One reason being her relationship to the winter solstice and the sun itself. The other reason being her being quite overlooked in analyzing Indo-European myths. So, because the goddess of dawn used to be one of the most prominent deities in the Indo-European pantheon, I thought I would talk about her, of course, with the Slavic twist on her, but she is a common ground for all Indo-European traditions. So I think it will be very interesting to anyone. Well, you don't even have to have your Indo-European roots, but I find it fascinating how much in common, even though we are so different in those many European traditions, still we do have common ground. So to observe such a persistent presence, I think it's very interesting for anyone. So I hope you will enjoy this video. And we do have a reconstructed name of Goddess of Dawn, and it is something like Heusos. And it comes from the meaning, from the word root that means to shine, to glow, the flame. And for example, in Vedic tradition, so in India, we have goddess Ushas. In Avesta, so the Iranian tradition, we have Usha. We do have Alhos that became Eos later in Greece tradition, the goddess of dawn, who opens the gates of the day. In Roman version, she's named Aurora. And I find this fascinating, absolutely awesome. In Old English, I found, of course, I don't know how to precisely read it, but it's something like Earendil. And you Tolkien fans might realize that you know this name. Yes, indeed, Earendil was the one with the star on his forehead on this ship sailing through the skies. So Professor Tolkien included this tradition in his mythology. And Earendil means dawn or ray of light. Then in Baltic tradition, we have Ausrine. I think that like a big lump of frozen snow just fell off my roof. I hope everything is okay. So in Slavic tradition, we do have Utro or Jutro, and it's also related to all those names that I have just mentioned, and it means in today's Slavic languages, it means either morning or tomorrow, so the new day. And we know character from folklore that is called Jutrzenka, so the dawn lady. In Czech, there is Jutrzenka. In other Slavic traditions, we also have dawn maidens, but the name is a bit different from a different root, but also meaning-wise related. So it's Zorza, Polish Zorza, Russian Zoria, or Zora. It means dawn. So what do we usually hear or generally know about the goddess of dawn? The most popular one is Eos from Greek mythology, because this is mostly what we know about her. She's a goddess of dawn, the end. So we know that she's definitely pretty. She appears in legends and myths as a kidnapped wife, like Slavic Jutrzenka. She opens the gates of the day, like Eos, or like Ausrine from Baltic tradition. She has cute rosy fingers and doesn't do much important stuff. What we should know about her is that, as I mentioned, she's one of the most important Indo-European deities. She's related to planet Venus, and she's a star lady. She's like the most important star in the skies. She likes to dance, and light and dew, meaning moisture, are her gift. Gold and red are her colors, and her titles are often daughter of Dievas or Zeus, so of the god of the sky, or we can think about her as the daughter of the skies, because she's related to stars and brightness that comes from above. In some traditions, also daughter of the sun. She is either related, so she's either a sister or a wife to the divine twins. Yes, she is a wife of two guys in some traditions. I do have a video about the divine twins. I will try and link it. And she is also related to horses, which is extremely Indo-European. And she has a carriage drawn by horses. She also cares for the sun. In Baltic tradition, she is a handmaiden to her mother, who is the sun. And in Slavic tradition, she sometimes appears as a person or persons who care for an inanimate sun. So we find, for example, illustrations of two Zorias, so two lights, one of which is like in the east, and the sun starts its travel from her, goes in an arch, and there waits the other Zoria, who collects the sun. Also in Slavic folklore, we know about Mother of God, because Mother of God inherited many goddesses' prerogatives, attributes, and certainly she inherited the goddess of dawn's attributes. She bathes the sun in dew on Kupala night, so summer solstice. And in the context of winter solstice, we have characters such as Saint Lucy, who is very popular in two places in Europe. One is Italy, the other is Scandinavia, and it seems that they celebrate different aspects of this saint. Well, her name, Lucia, it means light. So in Scandinavia, we have this maiden dressed in white robes with a wreath with lit candles. So it is someone with light on their head. And her day is December 13th. That used to be Christmas before the change of the Julian calendar into Gregorian calendar. So check her out. It's fascinating how this tradition is still alive in Scandinavia. We have Frau Holda from Silesia. And for her, people would lay out the table with many delicious dishes for winter solstice, for Christmas. In Poland folklore, we have Gwiazdka, which is our star, the little star. So depending on the region, we have different characters who bring presents. Most popular, of course, is Santa Claus, but we do have places where it is the star man, Gwiazdor, or the star lady, Gwiazdka, or something different. But one of those characters is indeed the star, who is also dressed in white, and her face is hidden behind a white veil. So all of these characters can be related to the goddess of dawn from the Indo-European tradition. She also appears as the rescuer of the sun in Indo-European myths, because there is often a story in which the sun gets kidnapped, and in them it is actually an inanimate object, but it is, there is a hazy line between anthropomorphized sun and inanimate sun, because some deities just do have solar qualities about them, just like the dawn goddess. Anyway, the dawn goddess is one of the main characters rescuing the sun that was kidnapped by a sea king, and there was darkness in the world, and then the deities brought the sun back. So she indeed brings the sun back. In Greece, we have a couple of characters that have attributes of the goddess of dawn. One of them, as I said, is Eos. We also have goddess Aphrodite, so the goddess explicitly related to planet Venus. And we have Helen of Troy. I highly recommend an article. It is written in English by a Polish scholar, but in English, so you can all read it. It's not too long. It's very interesting and has a lot of interesting points about Helen of Troy having a lot in common with the Indo-European goddess of dawn. Helen's name, most probably, it's not 100%. We cannot be sure for 100% sure, but most likely her name means Lady of Light. She is a repeatedly kidnapped wife. And these are apparently ritual kidnappings related to marriage. And it is one of those creepy things from our past, but we cannot deny that it happened. Ritual kidnappings were very popular among Indo-European tribes. And we even have it. Some time ago, I was analyzing Polish folk wedding traditions, and it was actually pretty horrifying to find out how much of the idea of the bride being kidnapped and crying and unhappy still stayed in those traditions. But yeah, this shows us a piece of history. But anyway, Helen of Troy is a kidnapped wife. She was kidnapped not only once, but even before she was grown, like Theseus kidnapped her, and then her brothers, the divine twins, Castor and Polydeuces, they rescued her. And then, of course, she went with Paris, but it was always seen as a kidnapping of Helen, right? Because women are objects, so they don't have any say in what is happening. Anyway, sorry for that. The author of that article also points out how Agamemnon, her brother-in-law, also goes to take her back. Like Menelaus goes together with his brother Agamemnon. So again, two brothers to recapture her. And what is also really fascinating, we know that Helen was born from a swan egg. Swans are solar birds, by the way. And the author of that article, what was his name? I should name him, sorry. Okay, it's Maciej Jutrzenka. And you will get the link to the PDF of his article. So he traced a character that was apparently from Estonian tradition, but seemingly an Indo-European influence, called Salme, and she was actually born from a goose egg. And swans and geese are pretty much of a similar symbology. I wanted also to mention now a Slavic goddess, Dziewanna, whose name points to the meaning of brightness and sky and light. It's the same as Dievas, so the old name for the sky and the sky god. And she is preserved in Polish tradition as the mother of God of the thunder candle, so Gromniczna, on February the 2nd. Interestingly, very close to St. Bridget holiday, the candles are blessed, and they are believed to, I think I have a video about Gromnica. Well, anyway, the candles are believed to ward off evil and danger, protect against thunder and wolves and hail, and also protect your throat from infections. And it was put into the hand of a dying man so that the light of this candle could guide him. So this candle is related to this February the 2nd holiday celebration, and many scholars see in Mother of God of the Thunder Candle, see goddess Dziewanna. Interestingly enough, originally candles here in this geographical area, the candle wicks were made from mullein, which is in Polish, this plant, this herb, is called Dziewanna. So this is the same name as the goddesses. Also, mullein is believed to be good for throat infections. So it helps, actually. It does work. It's not just a belief. So, yeah. Even though we don't make candles with mullein inside anymore, there is still this connection between the candle and the plant. Another interesting thing, if we look at the Baltic tradition again, and I'm coming back and back to the Baltic tradition because it's very ancient. It really has preserved, well, they were the last pagans of Europe, so they preserved really a lot of ancient traditions, plus we Slavs used to be very close with the Balts, so there is a lot of similarities between our cultures and traditions. So, in Baltic tradition, Ausrine has a sister, Vakarine, and it is the evening. So it's dawn and evening or twilight, and they are sisters, and they take charge, just like those Zorias that I just described before. And in the Vedas, Ushas has a sister, Nisha or Ratri, and this is a deity of the night. And Jivanna is sometimes mentioned together with goddess Majanna. And she's the goddess of harvest, winter, of death, and the underworld. So we see this pattern here. I wonder what other people interested in Slavic mythology would say, but it is true that many scholars see Jivanna and Majanna as the faces of the same goddess who gets renewed every spring. So Jivanna would be the young one, the spring goddess, and Majanna would be the old one, the dark one, the cold one. And she dies every end of winter. Her death heralds the end of winter. Also, in Slavic tradition, there are either two Zorias, so dawns, like I mentioned, the morning and the twilight, or three. And then they appear as like the Greek Moirai. So they appear at the birth of the child and they tell the baby's fortune. And they are also called as, in Polish, for example, trzy zorze dziewicze, so three virgin Zorias. And they appear in many traditional healing spells, especially for children's illness. The Zorias, or Zorze, are spinners, and they spin golden threads from clouds when they are gold, so either in the evening or in the morning. The effect of ballooning in late summer, when spiders are traveling on their loose threads, are believed to be Zoria's spinning threads. And also we call those threads babie lato, so woman's summer. So to sum up, the goddess of dawn, in Slavic Jutrzenka or Zorza or Zoria. She is the giver of light and sun, giver of order. She wards off evil and darkness. She is the protectress of children. She possibly brings the rescued or reborn son back to the world. She's the goddess of dance and music. She is related to planet Venus, which for the Slavs certainly was one of the three most important lights in the sky. The morning star welcomed just like the sun or the moon were. So people would men would take off their hats and they would greet her. In Poland, for example, Witaj Jutrzenko, najjaśniejsza panienko, which means welcome, Aurora, the brightest lady. She is also related to horses. She is the type of a kidnapped wife, and I think because of that also she represents the rituals of getting married, of marriage rituals. She is standing on the threshold of light and darkness. So she is the giver of hope because she brings the light, and she's the giver of life. And I wanted to read to you what David Kinsley says about Ushas, who is very closely related to all those other dawn goddesses, because she repeatedly appears in the Rig Vedic hymns, Kinsley says, and there she is, quote, consistently identified with dawn, revealing herself with the daily coming of light to the world, driving away oppressive darkness, chasing away evil demons, rousing all life, setting all things in motion, sending everyone off to their duties. End of quote. And also, she is the life. This is from Wikipedia. She is the life of all living creatures, the impeller of action and breath, the foe of chaos and confusion, the auspicious arouser of cosmic and moral order, called the Rta in Hinduism. So when we listen to this description, isn't this something much better, like much more amazing and awesome, than the simple lady who flies in the sky and she opens the gates for her brother, the sun, to ride, and and not much more. I think that this goddess deserves a lot of attention. And as always, she's fascinating for me. And today, when it's the old solar year is almost over, I think it's a great time to think about the deity that brings the light back. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any of your own thoughts around such characters, if you know deities or heroines that might be related to this goddess of dawn, to Heusos, please let me know. I would be delighted to read about it. And a happy solstice, everyone. Bye.